Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. Before we get started, I would like to say, please, everybody, like, comment, and subscribe. We are Elite City Pod on all social media. And if you watch us on YouTube, please leave a comment. That really helps us. We appreciate that. And I'd like to apologize. We're a little bit late this week. We had some real life issues, and we're back, though. And it's been a heck of a week. So it's Janine and Rick with me tonight. So how's everybody doing?
I'm good.
Doing great.
How about you?
Doing all right. No complaints. It's awesome. It was a little hectic this week in real life and also wrestling life, but what a week it was. It's nuts. MJF returned. I was pumped, but the second that the music hit, I was like over the moon. I know that's dumb because he was at the pay-per-view and like we already had that, but just being back on regular TV, it was nice. It was awesome. It was fun.
Yeah. What did you think of his promo on Wednesday?
I liked it. I thought it was a little. We always talk about things could be shorter. In the grand scheme of things, if you go back and watch it now, it's a little long. But in the moment, watching it live for the first time, I was perfectly okay with it. That's just me nitpicking.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it. I thought the one at the pay-per-view was better, which makes sense. Yeah. It was his first one in however long. This one was good. It was like he's always good. Anyone who's yelling what though at a promo, shut up.
Please.
Just stop.
The worst.
Stop. It's 20 years old and it was bad 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yes. Now, can we bring your prophecy to life, Rick? How Roosh has come in and totally stole everything Andrade has ever done. Now all of a sudden is in the main event.
Andrade is like the Twitter champion in WWE now, so he has that.
Yeah, I know. That's incredible. Yeah, and Roosh is in the main event picture.
Yeah, I was surprised that I have nothing against Roosh. I like Roosh. He's a good wrestler. He's a cool guy. Like he has a good gimmick. I was really surprised that MJF first feud back is with Roosh though. What do you think?
I think that has to go from Roosh's performance in the C2. He just really proved that. I mean, we knew he was a good wrestler, but like as far as like actual, I'm not going to use air quotes, but wrestling, like he can hold his own. He's very well rounded, is what I should say.
Yeah. Do you think he still has LFI around?
If I follow Preston Vance on social media, and Preston says he's ready to go, so and he's just been in Mexico the whole time Roosh was injured. So
did Roosh make him stay in Mexico? Like until I come back, you can't leave Mexico.
Oh, I think he took over LFI.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a punishment. Like until I heal, you can't.
Oh no,
you can't go back to your family. I don't care. You have to live in Mexico until I allow you to leave Mexico. You're not able to leave. I don't care where you're from. You're staying in Mexico.
We'll go with that. That's way funnier. As opposed to
you're just forcing him to live in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, don't you live in the States? Shut up. Stay there.
I miss my family. You don't have a family anymore.
Right.
That would be funny.
That'd be amazing. It was I'm happy for Roosh though. I like that.
Now on a slightly unrelated tangent, did you hear the stuff about, speaking of Roosh, did you hear the stuff about people from AAA and people from CMLL now apparently allowed to be on the same shows?
Tony Khan's like, well, money does talk, and he has a lot of it. So
yeah.
God only knows the check he had to write for that. But
yeah, I liked Meltzer's argument being like, well, he has a lot of money, so.
Right. I mean, of course, that's the reason.
But it's a great move, especially going into Forbidden Door. Like they apparently they're not allowed to wrestle each other, but at least they're allowed to be on the same shows now.
And again, that's like such literally uncharted territory. Yeah. Like
it's actually forbidden. So
yes,
nice job.
Yeah. Excuse me. What do you think? Like, do you think MJF is going to be? He claims he's back full time. Blah blah blah. Is he going to be weekly staple? Or...
Yeah, I think they paid him a ridiculous amount of money. And
I think we'll see a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that's part of the deal. Like, okay, we're going to pay you like a ton of money, but you have to be like our not number one guy, but one of our main guys who's there all the time.
I agree with that too, especially with their, like, we don't know if this is how they do business, but the way that they've seemed to do business is you're on a streak for a while, you're on TV, and then you just go away for a little bit, unless you're Chris Jericho. But if that's the cycle that they're going to run with everybody, I think that'll be a very interesting aspect to the whole company, where, you know, everybody's always kind of fresh, at least at the top.
I think they're pushing MJF now, like they put, and rightfully so, like they push like Mercedes, or like when Adam Copeland came in, or when CM Punk came in. It's like they're the big name that even if they're not wrestling, they're doing something every single week.
True. Good point.
I don't think he'll be wrestling lots. I think that's part of his thing, and I like it that he doesn't wrestle that much. It makes it feel more important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to say he's better on the mic than he is as a wrestler, because he's a great wrestler, but the entertainment is like, give him a mic.
That's why I thought the Roosh feud is a little strange, because like Roosh is a good wrestler, but he's not going to have a promo battle with MJF.
Well, see, I was thinking of this, like, they have to give him a mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, because otherwise it's just going to be MJF is going to talk for 10 minutes and Roosh is going to say like 4 lines. And like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, well, like, I wonder who it would be.
Like, I don't know.
It has to be somebody with, like, they have to, like, be beyond, like, a good talker. Like, they have to have, like, character.
Yeah, like, it only worked when it was, like, William Regal going against MJF, because William Regal's good.
Right.
But, like, they don't have William Regal anymore, so I don't know who it could be.
But, I mean, they have to give him someone.
Yeah, because you can't have MJF just come out and insult him for 10 minutes and him, like, kind of, you know, have 3 lines.
Right, because, I mean, it would be over before it started.
Yeah, for sure.
Where do you put him, like, right now? What do you, like, obviously put him, like, he's at the top, he's at the main event world title, but, like, do you slowly sprinkle him in? Do you, like, how do you do it?
I think, well, MJF, like, you know, with the excitement of him coming back, I think I'd say put him, you know, pretty early in the show, or make him like a main event, you know, at the end of the night, but because he's just so hot right now, you definitely don't want to just put him in the middle of like some stuff going on. Like, you want to keep that momentum. I think that's probably your best bet, is beginning of the show or like main event. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, I think beginning of the show makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially, like, you know, not that they're having trouble selling tickets, excuse me, but to just get the face on there. I mean, he is like Jay said, the hottest person in pro wrestling in general. So yeah, just as soon as the show starts, he should be the first one.
It makes sense. Get him out there early and just get him going, get the momentum. That will get the energy for the show, I think, because that's what people are there for.
Yeah, at least for like the first month, like the first 4, his first 4 shows, I'd start with him too.
And I think it does have to be like what they did with Punk or Mercedes, where like they're just going to be there. They might be on commentary. They might have but like every week, make sure people know that he's going to be doing something right at the beginning, so that you have to watch the show.
I like that. Just don't even tell anybody what he's going to do. Just be like, hey, tune in. He will be there.
Speaking of which, did anyone do the QR code that Mercedes put on the screen? I looked at it, and then it was, you had to like share something on social media, and I gave up.
I was going to say it was through Twitter, so I could not do it.
So I quit immediately, because I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That was weird. I didn't know what that was.
I get what they're trying to do. You wanted me to quit Twitter.
Yeah, you should.
Well,
I didn't do it either. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's very vague on, like, I don't know if it's a contest, if it's exclusive content. I don't know what it is.
Let me do a little scrolling here.
It seemed like a contest to me, but I wasn't 100% sure of it.
Which I'm sure if we would have scanned the QR code and had Twitter, it would have told us.
I mean, I did scan the QR code, and we have a Twitter account for Elite City that I never use, but I stay logged into in case I need to like look something up on Twitter, because now you have to be logged in. So I scanned it, and it populated a tweet for me, with like a hashtag, and I was like,
Oh.
I'm not doing this. So I don't know if you that's an entry, or if you do that, they send you a link to something else. I have no idea.
I got you. Yeah, I didn't do it. So
Well, that's good. I'm glad we're on top of that.
Yeah. So if any of our listeners did it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. If you're on YouTube, comment in the comments what happened.
Yeah.
Keep your eye out for a QR code on AEW Dynamite tonight. It's looking to reward her loyal fans. I'm just looking to see if there's anything.
Yeah, I feel like it's either a contest or you'd get like an exclusive video or something. But
Click here to confirm. Well, she just posted a Cameo link a couple days ago. I wonder if that's what you win.
Maybe. Yeah.
I clicked a link to see what
How much is it?
Authorize Fuji to access your account. I don't know what that is. Listen to me. I'm such a boomer.
We seem very confused by the internet right now. We're like, what is this QR code?
Right.
Back in my day, I wrote a letter.
The company I work for, they are really pushing QR codes, and then anybody who has any sense in IT is like, nobody trusts QR codes.
Yeah.
Like, just nobody does. I don't know what you win. A surprise from your CEO. I assume it's winning the Cameo or
that
something, because she posted something about Cameo.
How much
Cameo
is going to be?
I will look.
Probably a lot.
It's probably a lot of money. It is.
Yeah.
Has to be.
It's good that we're doing this live on the air. Yes. This is working out well.
Okay, we're all sitting down, right? It's $337 for like a minute video.
That's way cheaper than I thought. I mean,
it actually is less than I thought. I was thinking like 500.
Yeah.
I have one from Warhorse, and I think it was like $10.
I remember, I think Bret Hart was on it for a short time, and I was like, that'd be kind of cool. But like Bret Hart was like $500. I'm like,
I bought one. I bought one of Danhausen for a friend, so
that's amazing.
Also $10.
Yeah, see that would be fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are fun, I'm going to transition into what I wanted to talk about. Toni Storm.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
I love Toni Storm. She's incredible.
She's absolutely it's perfect. I there's no fault. And
she's great. The feud is great.
She's
Everything
so
about it is great. I know you don't have the picture-in-picture. My favorite. She's incredible in the picture-in-picture broadcast when it's off the air and she's talking. My favorite one. I think it was picture-in-picture. She was like, "Do you know that I've been outcast from the Outcasts?" And then they all kind of laughed, and she's like, "That makes me an incast." And everyone just kind of looked at her. It was amazing.
That's incredible. That's utterly incredible.
She's so good.
She's amazing. Like we said last week, she could keep this belt forever, and I would have absolutely no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I think about it. Like I don't see anybody beating her that's like, I don't want to say worthy, because I mean they all put in the work, but like, who is going to beat her that's going to be accepted from the crowd? That's the question.
Yeah, Jay, you were right last week when you said it has to be like really built up, like a real built up.
It would have to be for it to be anybody to take that off of Toni. It would probably have to be like Saraya, because Mercedes is doing her own thing with the TBS title. It would have to be Saraya of anybody, because I mean, just not to, like you said, not to take anything away from the other girls, because everybody is putting in the work and they're doing really, really big, but something for the crowd, the fans to accept. Toni dropping that title, it would have to be like Saraya. It just would have to be.
I was thinking the only other thing that would work is Jamie Hayter or Britt Baker, but it couldn't be a surprise. It couldn't be like they show up and beat her that night.
Right. I'd say I was gonna guess Britt too, but then I remembered Saraya's there, but because Britt is like the OG, like she is,
right?
You know,
but that would have to be they came back and had like a 2 or 3 month feud with her before they won. Yeah.
But to go back to what you said, Rick, I'd accept that though. If somebody if Jamie Hayter just came back, instantly challenged her, she accepted and beat her that quick, I'd be okay with that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, maybe Jamie Hayter would make only Jamie. I don't think Brett would work. I think people get mad if it was Brett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I think if it was Jamie, it would work, because people really miss her and she's kind of disappeared.
And it would be like the double moment. You'd still have the awe of her return, like, you know, not even hype her return. Just like Toni Storm has a mystery opponent tonight, and Jamie Hayter's music hits. People are going nuts. You know,
and Tony's like all like, what's going on? Like, it could work so well.
I don't even know who this is.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be
because they've never established it. I think we know, but I think timeless Tony Storm does not have the memories of Tony Storm, right?
Right.
She doesn't. She doesn't remember them.
Do you even work here? Who are you?
Who is this Jimmy?
Now, going back to the Saraya thing, wasn't Saraya and Tony Storm? Wasn't that Saraya's last match, or supposed to be Saraya's last match, or something? In WWE, I'm sorry, I left that part out.
No, her last match was Mercedes. I don't know what happened with her and Tony Storm.
That's what I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
not Tony Storm, Mercedes.
It was Saraya and Mercedes. It was her last match. Yeah.
Right, and she got hurt again and had to quit and had to get out of the ring.
Well, that's where I was going with this. Do you think AEW leans into that? I'm sorry, I said the wrong name.
Yeah, I think Saraya might be better suited to to feuding with Mercedes, especially because I don't know. This is just speculation. I don't know how 100% Saraya is, because they did have that match 2 weeks ago that they canceled abruptly.
Right.
I'm worried that
she might not be ring ready.
She might not be like able to wrestle every single week. Like, I'm not sure. So yeah.
Yeah, I can
what do
see
we
that.
think? What do we think happens with Mina and Mariah? Eventually, someone's going to have to pick a side, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of? Oh, on that note, what do you think of Mariah May being the one who beats Tony Storm? Like she chooses Mina maybe, and then Tony Storm gets upset, and then they feud.
Well, if I did say you didn't have to watch Collision, but everything you said is negated because of what happened on Collision.
All right, well, there you go.
So Tony Storm actually asked Mariah to enter the Owen Hart tournament so she could face her when she wins the Owen Hart tournament.
Yeah, but I feel like that seems like I want to face you because I want you to like, you know, the right thing to do, right? You should just lose to me.
Yeah, but
and maybe Mariah doesn't lose to her. Maybe she's like, no, I earned this. I want to actually beat you. And then Tony Storm's offended that she actually wants to beat her.
I'm okay with that.
Mariah May could work. If they built it up properly, Mariah May could work as the person who beats her.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's built in. We have all these months of them in like the protege type deal. Yeah.
And Mariah May's done a great job. She's been really good.
Oh, she's from like, I mean, I knew her name and I watched some clips of her before that, but like, even if you didn't watch Stardom, you did not know who she was. So from going from literally a internet name to a household name has been nuts.
Yeah, she's done an excellent job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was her who beat Tony Storm eventually.
Yeah.
I think it would work.
Yeah. So now here's the question of the night. We all know that the Bucks have some power, but what is the Bucks' power? Like it's still unknown.
It's very strange. I think we talked about this last week where we were like, okay, if Tony Khan got hurt, it makes sense that the Bucks would be in charge. Like they're the second in command. But Tony Khan is back now. And the Bucks even last week on Dynamite acknowledged to Christian that, they don't have a power to make a title match.
Right.
So then what power do they have?
So they're literally like just assistant managers in the corporate world.
Right.
Pretty much.
So then what, like,
is that
what we're supposed to be? Is that what we're supposed to be like? That's their takeover? Like, are they Dwight? They're just like
yeah, you'd think it'd be something more.
Because they never really took over. I like that this week they canceled the Acclaim segment. The Acclaim was coming out. They're like, no, we're gonna cut your segment. Like that was fun. I want them to do stuff like that. But if they've already acknowledged they don't really have any more power than to just be annoying, then what's the point?
Well, again, I'm gonna reference Collision, and even though I told you didn't need to watch it, so this is gonna be a very bad one-sided argument. It seems that the Bucks just have power on Dynamite because they tried to send Brandon Cutler out to, like, he said he got a fax when he was backstage because the Bucks weren't backstage apparently, which was weird. It was during the tag match and both teams just beat him up and ripped up the note that he was supposed to read and just continued to go about their stuff. So
that makes even less sense. Then why would they only have power on Dynamite?
Right. It was hilarious and it was really well done. But
the thing is, I feel like I've knocked the Bucks a lot, and I know I have. But like they're doing a good job with this. I like their characters. I think it's funny. but like it is very weird that they're having a takeover, but they freely admitted last show that they don't actually have any power or that much power.
Unless it's like the old like 80s like gimmick of like they really have zero power, but they're going to act like they have a whole bunch and just be embarrassed every time they try to throw their weight around.
But then why did they get to cancel that Acclaim segment?
Well, that's true too. I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird.
It is.
It definitely doesn't seem like there's any structure to it. It's very like at random, like, okay, we can do this, but we can't do that. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Like they do seem, they use them when it's convenient. When they want the Bucks to have power, the Bucks have power. When they want them not to have power, they don't. It's a little strange.
That is true. I never looked at it that way. But yeah, it's well, when you say that, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. We talked privately about like things that irk us about AEW sometimes. And I notice that things don't bother me like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I sit down and I start to think about it, or if I'm like try to dive too deep. And I know that that's like, that's like being like a hardcore fan. I put my fingers in quotes when I said that, but if I'm like trying to put it into words, like if you would just take it for face value, I don't think half of this stuff would matter. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. In the moment, I mean, wrestling has its own like dumb logic to begin with. Like there's always when like, a wrestler's in the ring and someone else's music plays and they all turn and look at the ramp instead of just continuing the match.
Or like the crowd is clearly trying to like warn somebody, hey, somebody's like Mania with the Undertaker behind the Rock and everybody's screaming and the Rock's just standing there like, duh, like what's going on? And
my absolute favorite of when like you chase somebody and they run out of the ring and you just stand in the ring pacing as if you can't follow them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I know wrestling has like its own like dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But this seems like it's outside of like traditional dumb wrestling stuff. This like they should have found a way to give the Bucks more power. Like when Tony Khan was hurt, they could have said like, oh, then we found some clause in our contracts that allowed us that if he's hurt, we get the next 3 months in power, something. Just even if it doesn't make sense, just to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or even do like a stupid wrestling thing, like, oh, we had our lawyers write it in the super small print, like,
just something silly like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if there was just established that,
and then I would just go, okay, that's the explanation. It's not a great explanation, but I get it, and move on.
Yeah. But again, we're trying to break down pro wrestling on our pro wrestling podcast.
Yeah,
it's every week. Like, subscribe, and.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
hit that bell.
There's two things I want to say here that I feel like I'm annoyed that I have to say. The first is that if you criticize AEW, there's a segment of the population that goes, well, you just want AEW not to exist. No, like some people maybe want AEW not to exist, but like if you're on an AEW podcast and you criticize AEW, it's not that you don't want AEW to exist. It's that you want it to be a better show.
Right. You want it. You're allowed to be critical of the things that you love because you want it to be better. There's always room for growth.
I hate that argument of like Dax Harwood uses it all the time. Like, if you don't like what we're doing in AEW, would you prefer there was no AEW? No one's saying that, or very few people are saying that.
Right.
Maybe some people are saying that, but they're very few, not the general sentiment. Maybe that's the general sentiment among like angry people on the internet, but not in regular wrestling crowds.
Yeah, it's almost like. And it's weird because like we were kind of in this from the beginning, and when you're in something from the beginning, you kind of do take it as like your own. But since everybody, a majority of AEW's audience was since day one, I mean, the company's only 5 years old. As soon as people start to talk, slightly about it, they take it personally, and that's just a person thing. And it's just because it's new. Like, I think people as time goes on will be a little more open-minded towards, I don't want to say negativity, because negativity could be something actually bad, but towards people's opinions on their favorite thing. Yeah.
Criticisms.
There you go.
I feel like I'm like the negative guy on like AEW fandom, but I like AEW. Like I watch it all the time. We have a podcast about it. Like obviously I like it, but like it's not, no show is perfect, right? So I would prefer it to be better. Obviously, like if you like a sports team, like they're winning every single championship, which they're not. You always think, oh, I'd like them to be better. I wish they won that game. I wish they signed that player. I wish they didn't trade whoever. Like it's the same sort of thing.
Right.
And my other point that I want, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to agree with you. I was like, that's kind of the double-edged sword of trying to portray yourself as a real sport.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's like, especially speaking of it in like sports terms, look at like the Pirates and how it's been,
right,
like,
literally a generation.
It's been like a whole generation of a poopy team, like an absolute crappy team, and the whole like the running adage is sell the team, sell the team, sell the team, and I think honestly at this point the owner laughs it off. Like I mean, to him it's a joke. It's sell the team, but there are really fans out there that love baseball and they love the Pirates. They've been Pirates fans for a long time, and they want better for the team. So it's not out of like negativity or hating the team. It's just it's something you love and you want to enjoy it. You're tired, you want to enjoy it, and you want it to be fun. You want it to be better. So the same goes for anything, wrestling especially.
I do think that is a kind of a double-edged sword with AEW's audience, because the AEW audience is a very hardcore type of audience, and very hardcore audiences will either take things very personally when you criticize the thing that they like, or be like us, where like you're a very hardcore audience and you nitpick basically, right? Whereas if it's something you don't care about that much, you're not going to nitpick it because it's just whatever.
Right. If you're just if you're just a casual fan, it's just whatever. It's not, oh, I'm watching this, I'm enjoying it. But you're not going to look at things and think, I think this could be better this way, or,
Yeah, exactly. Well, that brings me to like slightly a related point, and we'll get into more questions later because we have some stuff to talk about. When you were talking about the Bucks and how it doesn't really make sense what their power is, do you feel that? I kind of feel this. I think that's sometimes I mention that I'm like slightly less into AEW than I once was, and I'm still watch the shows all the time, so it's not like I'm that much less into it. Like I'll still watch it and enjoy it. But do you feel like there's not enough stakes in the things that they do sometimes? Like on TV, I mean, like on TV in storyline, do you feel like the stakes aren't necessarily high enough? Like the stuff with the Bucks, like they beat up Tony Khan and they took over the show, but did they really? Like it felt like the stakes weren't really there. Like maybe when they had that match, the Anarchy in the Arena match, should there have been something on the line as like opposed to just
control the company for
or something?
6 months that's a good point to make. I never looked at it that way. Like again, in the moment, I just kind of like, maybe it's just me being an old fan, I just accept everything, and then when it comes time to write stuff down for the show, like I start to nitpick. But yeah, that's a great point, and something I never even realized until you brought it up this second. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking, have they even had anything like loser leaves the company match? And
I think the only thing they did was when Cody had, if he lost, he couldn't challenge for the title. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Like I mean, there's title matches and things obviously, but there's no like crazy storylines really like that other than the Cody one or the Anarchy in the Arena, like control of the company, loser leaves the company.
Yeah, see, that would have really explained the Bucks' power. If the Bucks won that match, we're like, oh, now we get to be in charge of Dynamite.
Right.
They make perfect sense. Oh, we won, we're in charge of Dynamite. Okay, like that. Yeah, it feels, I don't know, it feels a little weird that there are no stakes attached.
Because I mean, there's been storylines obviously like in WWE where if you build up something like that, like okay, we have control of Dynamite for it could cause like another story to arc from that, like an anti-establishment,
or maybe TR gets mad at Danielson for losing that match and costing them their title shot or something, right? Like that could go somewhere, but yeah, I feel like there needs to be a bit more.
Yeah, like I feel like the last time I saw anything like that was maybe like when the Best Friends lost and that they split,
yeah, they did that with Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, right? If they lost, they couldn't be a team anymore.
Right.
Yes.
But that was way back in like the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah, they're like, that whole time I was trying to think of, the only thing I could think of, there was Jericho and Ortiz had a hair versus hair match. Remember when we all thought Jericho was going to lose because he's going bald?
Yeah,
and then he somehow won that.
In retrospect, we now realize it's Chris Jericho, and of course he's not going to lose.
Yeah,
Right.
I would love more stuff like that. Honestly, yeah, like loser shaves their head, and like I mean, I don't know.
Like obviously there's titles and the titles matter, but they could put some other stuff in.
You could really have some fun with stuff like that too.
Yeah,
Definitely.
there's like. Yeah, I was sitting here that whole time. That's why I was quiet. I was like, no, there has to be one. There's literally like 3.
I mean,
well, and that just makes me think of my other point that I wanted to they mentioned earlier in the week. AEW has rankings, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Did they still?
I think it's up to the champions, but that's also a possibility that might not be true either.
Yeah, they've never if they said that, that would be fine. But like,
right.
It's weird that they made a really big deal about the rankings coming back. And I liked the idea of the rankings.
Well, that's when Joe is champion now. That's what I said. Like, I think it depends on the champion.
But now they don't even mention like someone's rank anymore. They used to be like, but why does it not apply to any of the champions anymore? Like it used to be like, oh, you've earned.
Well, that's true.
If you're third in the rankings, that gives you a international title shot. Like they've completely stopped talking about it, which I think is odd.
I agree.
And the women don't have rankings. Like, why would that affect Tony Storm?
Well, if you check the AEW website, Jade is still the number two contender for the TNT title or TBS title. Excuse me.
That's amazing. You Google AEW rankings, and that's what comes up. Mox is champion, Wardlow, Pac, Thunder Rosa, Jade, and Swerve in Our Glory. Oh, the number 1 contender though. It's okay. Don't worry. CM Punk.
Oh, nice.
Sounds like somebody needs a new class in web design.
Rick and the AEW web designer have secretly been fighting each other for 3.5 years.
Yeah, this is my biggest peeve with AEW. And I know we are going to talk about it later, but we watched a couple YouTube videos that we found interesting and had some comments for. And one of the things that the person said in one of them was that he wasn't sure how many pay-per-views AEW had, and he went to a website and he wasn't sure if it was AEW's website or not to get the information. And like, yeah, that shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to question that, right? Like,
yeah, that shouldn't be a joke.
No, you're a major company like that. You should definitely have a decent website for
sure. And it should be the place where people go to find that information. Like if you Googled how many pay-per-views does AEW have, the AEW website should come up and it should have that information. It shouldn't have to like go to like some other site to find. Like I know we're in like a social. I'm gonna sound like an old man. I know we're in like a social media age where everyone's on using X or Twitter or Instagram or whatever to get their news. And that's perfectly fine. Like you can tweet or put matches on Instagram when they're announced, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but they should also be on your website.
Yeah.
Because if you go to like AEW's Twitter page or X page, I refuse to use that name. If you go to their Twitter page the day of the show, you will see them announce matches, but you'll also see them, promote other stuff, or you'll see them retweeting someone, and you'll see them. So like, it's not a really good way to find the card of the show because there's, 10 other tweets that you have to wade through. And now you have to be logged into Twitter to see tweets in chronological order. So
I know, but we still live in an age also of such misinformation that maybe your website should be up to date and should be well maintained and look professional. I'm just saying, you're a major company. You should put the effort into a website. I'm sorry, not have like a GoDaddy cover.
It's a Wix website too, which for anyone who knows about websites, it's not what a $1 billion company should be using.
No.
That's if you go to the Jacksonville Jaguars website, it's not giving you scores from August 2022.
Yeah.
Right. So like, why is AEW's website giving you that?
That's amazing.
I work for a Fortune 500 company, and their website is really, really polished. Like you need to look.
And
good.
It's not especially hard. I mean, you hire 2 people to update your website, right? Like it's not like you need the same graphic you put on Twitter with the match card. You could just put on your website. Like it's not hard,
right?
And like there has to be like programs out there that just like do your social media. Like you could probably just do everything
you could
through
just,
the website.
You could just embed your Twitter or
Right.
something in the sidebar of the website or whatever if you want to have it there. Like you don't. But like, yeah, the fact that we Googled AEW rankings and it's August 2020, like either get rid of that page or update it. Like,
I hope someone just hacks it and updates it. It's like, here, help you out, Tony.
Meaning to do and never had the time to do is to like buy like AEWwrestling.com and just run a website myself that's better than their actual, and it wouldn't be exceedingly difficult for it to be better.
Right.
And then that will just become the website.
I can't wait to see the tweets. We've unfortunately found out we've been hacked this morning, and it's just somebody updated all the matches and the rankings.
But yeah, not to sidetrack on the website. Like the rankings thing is weird because you're right that it seems to depend on the champion. But why does that affect, the TBS title or the TNT title or the women's title?
Yeah, that's
again
something I never thought about. I'm sorry, Jake.
I wonder if maybe like they've realized that was really limiting what they could do, so they were like, well, let's just scrap that. I mean,
I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they scrapped it once already and then made a really big deal about bringing it back. And then like, it didn't last long. It lasted like a couple months and then they seem to have forgot about it again.
I don't know.
I think them bringing it back was a way, because when they dropped it was around the time that Punk was champion and kind of pulling the strings around things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think them bringing it back was kind of their way to be like, his reign of terror is over. We have rankings again. Like, we're going to put up 2 tunnels again, and we're going to have rankings. This is the AEW, remember? And then, oh wait, we don't actually want to have rankings.
We can't do this and this because this ranking doesn't match up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very good eye there, sir.
His reign of terror is over.
His reign of terror is over. That's amazing.
That is my favorite. I forget this episode. It's one of my favorite Simpsons lines. But they go, his reign of terror is over. Now it's time for my reign of terrific management. I love that.
So
anyway, wrestling.
Yeah, you gave us some homework, and I did it. Did anybody else?
I did. Well, I gave it to you, so I feel like I should have done it.
You gave us homework?
Yeah, I gave you videos to watch, remember?
Oh, that homework.
Dun, dun, dun.
Listen, life's been a little crazy, okay?
There was 2. I think we should start with the fan one. It was
the questions one?
Yeah, there was a YouTube video from someone. His YouTube name is Deporticus, and
yes,
basically I found it because it was recommended to me on YouTube just through the algorithm. But it's a good video. And basically I watched the first one he did first. He's a YouTuber who was just talking about, video games and TV shows or whatever. And then someone suggested he watch wrestling. So he watched WrestleMania, I think last year, like WrestleMania 39. And then started liking wrestling, was like, wrestling's great, and started watching WWE. And then this year at Double or Nothing, someone's like, oh, there's not just WWE, you should watch this. So he watched Double or Nothing and did like a first impressions video of AEW, and then did a follow-up video of his questions he has about AEW as someone who's never really watched it before. And I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go through, I wrote all the questions down, so we'll actually answer his questions as AEW fans.
Yeah.
So the first one he had, he said, do you care when AEW like talks about / bad mouths WWE? I found this one pretty easy, but I'll start with whoever wants to go first. Ginny, go first.
I mean, personally, I don't care. People are going to watch what they want to watch. It's not going to take anything away from either company that they do that. It really doesn't matter, I don't think.
Yeah, I genuinely don't care.
Okay.
Especially when it's relevant. Like the MJF line he had at Double or Nothing, and the person in the video points out it made sense to say I don't need Vince McMahon to be like popular, and that's a relevant point. That like he made himself a star without New Japan or Vince McMahon, which I think is important as his character to talk about. Mm-hmm. I think when something happens, like when Triple H took a shot at Will Ospreay, it makes perfect sense to take a shot back. Like that's perfectly fine. I don't want them doing it and they don't do it all the time. So this is even a current nitpick. I wouldn't want them doing it all the time. I think they've toned down how often they do it, and I think it's fine. Like, if it's relevant and it's not like a low blow, then yeah, go for it.
See, that's basically what I was going to say. It's like we come from the Attitude Era where, I mean, first off, different time, different, the 90s were wild. We all know that. But also the shows were literally head to head on two different competing channels. So it made way more sense to badmouth the other one. It's, just general smack talk. You want to be better than them. Now, I agree with Rick. Like, it doesn't need to be done. Every Dynamite doesn't need to make fun of WWE or Raw or SmackDown or whatever. But when it does happen, it doesn't bug me one way or the other because I watched wrestling in the Attitude Era. Them mentioning another company in the news is nothing compared to the stuff that used to happen. So it's not that.
Now, do you feel like it's a little different now that, admittedly, like AEW is kind of not as popular as it once was, and WWE is probably at the most popular it's been in 10 or 15 years? Do you think it's different now than it was in like 2019 when WWE was pretty terrible and AEW could easily say, watch our show, it's so much better, and most of the audience was like, yeah, I 100% agree with you? Whereas now WWE seems to be better. Not better than AEW, but better than it was.
I still agree to that statement. Like, I wouldn't watch WWE if I had 900 channels and it was the only thing on. I'd shut the TV off. Like, I'm just.
But I mean, I think it worked better before because you were
just the argument more. Oh,
yeah, you were talking not just to an AEW audience at the time.
Yeah.
You were also talking to a WWE audience, being like, hey, you don't have to watch that show. It's bad.
Yeah.
You can watch our show. Whereas now I feel like you're talking. This gets to a question that I have later. They're talking more to their own audience right now.
Right.
They're talking to people who already like AEW and have chosen to watch AEW, and probably don't watch WWE at least as much as they watch AEW. Whereas before it seemed like it was more of it was more of like a shot at WWE to WWE fans. Like, hey, you could watch our show. Right. It's good.
Yeah, it was more competitive. I think when AEW first came around, there was definitely that feeling of competitiveness to it. But now I think AEW is just its own thing. As we've talked about in the past, it's its own show now. It's its own thing. It does its own thing. And I mean, that's why I think people are going to watch what they want to watch. It doesn't matter what digs you make. I don't think it matters. People are already divided. They have their favorites and what they do. I don't think it matters.
And I'm not saying I'm like hurt by it or annoyed by it. I'm not. Like, half the time I laugh. Like, I think it's funny, right? So go ahead. But I don't know if it serves its purpose as well as it once did.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just old hat. Like, it's being done to just be done, I think, because it was done in the past. But that's it.
Right. If I remember correctly, wasn't Cody the very first dig with that stupid sledgehammer?
Yeah, he smashed the throne with a sledgehammer.
That was literally the very first dig, and that's, I think, what sparked like the whole competitiveness of it. It wasn't just, the whole idea. I think when they found it was like it's our company and blah 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 blah. But then immediately Cody's first night out there, boom. I mean.
But now, if you ask him, it's because Triple H is his favorite wrestler.
Right. Oh, his favorite.
Yeah, because Cody 100% tells the truth at all times.
Right.
And definitely doesn't just change the story to suit his current situation. He would never do that.
So it's why I'm so surprised he settled on a neck tattoo.
Yeah, because he doesn't seem like a guy who like makes firm concrete.
That's a big commitment.
Lifelong decisions. Yeah, he seems like somebody who kind of just goes
married. Yeah, like wow.
Anyway, on the question,
we have to talk about the neck tattoo once an episode.
Yes,
it's a rule.
Every time.
Definitely. Again, I kind of disagreed right off the bat, but is AEW too violent too often? No, because they're supposed to be fighting each other.
I don't think it's too violent. Like, I mean, sometimes it is, but I don't think that's the problem. I think with the second point of his point was a little more how I feel. Like, it's not that it's too violent. I rarely see something and I'm like squeamish, other than maybe Hangman drinking blood. I rarely see something and I'm like squeamish at it. But I do kind of agree with his point of does it lose its its pull? Does it lose the effect when it happens all the time?
It's not as intense if it's a constant.
But they're supposed to be fighting.
I know that.
Like when you watch UFC and a guy's nose is on the other side of his face, you're like, yeah, that would have been a much better fight.
I can't watch UFC.
Yeah, but see, they don't mention that as a big deal, though. I don't watch UFC, but I'm assuming in the UFC when a guy bleeds, they're not like, oh, he's busted open. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Because that's the thing that I have a problem with. When someone gets cut in AEW, they act like it's a big deal. Like, oh, wow, he's bleeding. But like they're bleeding all the time. Right. It would be like saying, oh, look, did a clothesline. Like, yeah, that's what they do.
Right. I agree, but it's
not a big deal. Like they shouldn't. Then if it's not a big deal, don't make it sound like it's a big deal. Just make it sound like it's a thing that happens.
Right. Oh, I agree. But I mean, that's just the announcers have to go. But I mean, they have to sell the product too, though. They can't be like me who are just in the middle of the road all the time. Like, whatever. You know,
I think some of it does lose its effect. Like like I love Mox. I think Mox is great. Mm-hmm. But like not the amount of blood. I don't even like the amount of blood was a joke, like a running gag for a while that he bleeds all the time. But like some of the stuff where like, oh, he's biting. Yeah, he does that every match. Like that's not like that's just a standard move at this point. This is just like as if he did a DDT or something, right? Like it does kind of lose it a little bit for me.
I mean, like I agree, but I don't know. It's just they're supposed to be fighting. That's what always bothered me about like PG era WWE. Like even if you see somebody like get in a semi fight at a bar, like someone gets a bloody lip every now and again. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
It's like, I don't know. So the blood, it doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't make it more extreme or it doesn't make it less extreme because I see it all the time. It's just like in my head, they're fighting. There's probably going to be blood.
I do think it kind of makes it like meaningless. Then it's just a thing that happens.
Right. But that happens in a fight. Like, I don't know. Like I see what you're trying to say, but my head looks at it differently.
I mean, but see, that's what makes it weird though. Cause if you are trying to be like UFC, like, oh, people get hurt, people get bloodied, right? Like then you should also not to go back to this topic again, but you should also have a match that ends in 15 seconds once in a while. Right. Like
I totally.
If you're actually fighting, like if I got in a fight with someone equal strength and experience level to me, it's not going to last 15 minutes. It's going to last it's going to last 3. Right. No matter who it is. Right. Like,
yeah, I agree with you there. Like you can tell just as much of a story in 3 seconds as you can in 35 minutes.
And I'm not saying every match, obviously. I don't want the attitude era where every match was 2 minutes long. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
wrong with Wardlow.
Yeah. I'm just saying if you're saying, oh, the blood is to make it seem like a more realistic fight, then there's a lot of other things that are very unrealistic that you should probably fix. And the length of everything is one of the problems.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. Jay, how do you feel about the violence?
I don't know, because anytime they do any of the deathmatch stuff, like it's not for me. It's great if it's for you. It's not for me. The blood so much doesn't bother me, but I get where I get where both of you are coming from. That's why I can't make like a solid, like it's not a black or white question, because I think it just depends on the viewer and how, some of it's for some people, some of it's not. That's just wrestling. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on it. Like I get it, but I don't know. I've been at matches like in person where there's blood and on TV it doesn't bother me, but when like you're in person, it's like that's kind of gross. I don't know. Like that's bodily fluid and there's spit and blood and just like
I do feel that way sometimes where I'm just like, yeah, that's gotta, like, I don't know.
That's just to me, it's more like unsanitary gross than like blood gross,
right?
Like squeamish gross. Like
I don't mind like the small blood, like when someone gets hit above the eye and bleeds, or someone gets hit in the lip and bleeds. Like that makes perfect sense if you're in a fight,
Britt Baker's face like drenched. I'm just like,
oh, that was awesome.
But see, that should happen once every 6 months, and then it's awesome. Right. If it happens more than that, then it's just. Then it's too much, because I don't watch UFC, so I could be completely wrong. I don't think every other UFC match has a guy completely drenched in blood. Like they bleed obviously when they get hit,
right?
But I don't think you need to have like completely covered in blood more than every few months.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along. This one was I had to change my we're gonna go out and put a little explanation on this one. I didn't realize the guy was a new fan when he asked this one, so I had to change my answer. He asked, "Are the pay-per-views too expensive at $50?" Again, I didn't realize he was a new fan. That's a standard, so I was like, no, it's just a normal price pay-per-view. So it didn't bother me at all.
He's like someone who's never ordered pay-per-view
right
before.
So yeah, like I had a whole other answer about like it was a little more mean-spirited, but because I was like, well, the guy never watched TV before, like didn't realize.
I think basically the only thing he's ever watched is WWE.
Right.
Like Peacock's essentially free, right? Like it's so cheap that it's free.
So
yeah.
Like when I had before Peacock, I had WWE. Like you could subscribe to it, like it was its own channel or whatever. Like app on smart
like
TV.
The old WWE network.
Yeah, the network, and it was like $10 a month, and you got pay-per-views with that. So
and Peacock's even less. Like you can get a year of Peacock for like $60 or something.
Yeah, it's like $5 a month or something.
Yeah, it's
$4
very cheap.
Yeah, very cheap for Peacock.
I think it's, and he did differentiate that, like, oh, I'm not saying the pay-per-views aren't worth the money,
right?
Because I think he didn't say this. I think they definitely are worth the money, but
1,000%. When
the the biggest competition is basically giving them away for free.
Mm-hmm.
And you're charging $50, like that is to a fan who's not a diehard fan. If you're like, am I going to watch this one this month? Like you have to think about it. Whereas if it's essentially on a service, would pay $10 for it, you'll just watch it anyway.
Right. Me personally, like I can't justify spending $50 to watch a TV program. But it's me. I grew up in a rural area without cable. We didn't have satellite. We had broadcast TV, and you got whatever channels could come in on the waves depending on the weather. I mean, like I grew up without cable until I was in high school, and they actually put lines in on our road. Like it just didn't exist. It just, to me, I can't justify spending $50 to watch a TV program. To me, that's a pair of shoes. That's a meal out. That's other money.
Especially when it's compared to everything else. Like you can get any other streaming service for $5 or $10, right?
Right. So or you can rent a movie on Amazon for like $5.
Right.
It's me. It's a personal thing with me. I
agree with it. I
love it and it's your thing and you're really gung ho about it. Spend the money. Enjoy it. I just personally can't.
I do get the pay-per-views every month, but there are months like, well, I was looking at the schedule and I'm like, oh, there's another one. Like, and I'm going to watch it. Like, I'm going to watch it because I like them and they're always a good time and I enjoy, and like, that's not the problem. But it does kind of seem like, again, like I just paid money. Like now I have to pay more money. Like it's, and I'm not like mad about it. I get it. But
for people, for you guys, because I know for women, they'll understand this. I guess the way to put it is, I used to get my nails done every month and it was like $40 plus whatever I tip. So it starts adding up. I haven't gone to get my nails done since I think maybe like March. Just holding out.
I guess
it adds up really quick. And when you have other bills to pay and, things like that, hey, to me personally, I can't spend $50 on a pay-per-view.
The time I felt it the most was when they did All In and then All Out like a week later. And I was just like, come on, guys.
That's tough, yeah.
It's one thing if it's once a month because you're like, oh, it's once a month, right? You can, that's a budgetary thing. But like when it's, if it was more than once a month, then I'd be like, that's a little much.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to even do more than once a month. And the with Ring of Honor being what they do, 4, so there's being part of the Honor Club is nice, but
that makes sense. Like when they were charging those separately, then that was a lot. Like that was too much.
But those weren't full price pay-per-views though. Right. Those were, I think, $25, $30. When the Ring of Honor ones. So I mean, it was still expensive, but it wasn't a $50 pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I feel like it is a kind of a barrier to someone who's a more casual AEW fan, right? Because if you're any of us, I'll watch all of them. And like, I know they're always going to be good. And I think most people know that they're always good. If you know anything about AEW, you know they're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a person who only watches sometimes, I'm sure a whole bunch of people are like, I don't like the card on this one. I don't like the main event, or it's too predictable, or I think I know what's going to happen, or I don't care about this wrestler. And they just don't watch because it's $50. Whereas if it was on, HBO or like Peacock, you're going to watch it just because it's there. You're already paying for that thing. So why not?
Right.
True. Yeah. And I think that's going to change here soon-ish.
I feel like it kind of has to. I know UFC still charges money for pay-per-views, and I know other people still charge money for pay-per-views, but I feel like that's kind of has to change because like people are having, just in general, people are having like streaming service fatigue, right? There's everybody subscribed to 15 different things. And like, I look at my bill, like my credit card statement every month, and I'm like, do I actually watch all of these? Do I need all of these? Right. It's just like, not even a money thing. Just like, if I'm giving you $20 a month and I'm not watching the thing, why am I giving you $20 a month? Right. Like, people are going to start cutting some stuff.
100%.
It's a monthly discussion in our household.
Yeah.
I think I have, like, I don't have like a lot of them. I have like Disney Plus, Honor Club. That's it. Oh wait, no, I lied. I have HBO Max too. But like,
and YouTube Premium, the only one I would keep if I had to get rid of them all.
Oh yeah, well, but see, I don't count YouTube Premium because it's not monthly. Like, if you just let me pay for it once, like.
See, they didn't let me pay for a month. I paid for it monthly.
Oh, geez, I was able to. It was a one-time fee.
No, I pay for that monthly.
Paid the whole year. It was awesome. I
have Disney Plus. I have Amazon, which I think I'm gonna get rid of because I never use.
We have like everything in our house, and I'm like, I don't watch a lot of it. He does.
They canceled the cheap Netflix that I had, the $10 a month Netflix, and they want me to pay $17. So I'm just like, I don't think I watch $17 worth of Netflix. So
and now everything's like, we're gonna put ads in, and you got to pay more. It's everything.
Yeah, it's getting a lot to the point where like everyone's putting in ads, everyone's adding a new tier, right? Where you have to to get this thing, you have to subscribe to another level. Like, I think that's gonna hurt AEW in the long run because people are gonna go, I can't spend the reason everyone left cable was because people were like, I can't spend $200 a month on cable.
And now you're spending
$200 a month on streaming services, right? So, but now you can cut them, so people will, right? Like, if it's easy to just cut a service, you'll do it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Moving right along. This one, it's kind of 50-50. Do the veterans in AEW go too far? Do you think they need to be tethered in a little bit?
I'm torn on this one.
See, I say no because nobody is asked to do anything. You're just basically given free reign to do as you please. So there's no nobody went to Adam Copeland and said, hey, will you jump feet first off the top of this 15-foot cage and break your leg?
I do think most of the veterans are in a position where they don't need to do those things. If you're a younger guy,
right,
trying to make a name for yourself, you might think, I have to do this because that's how people are going to talk about me the next day. People won't remember my match unless I do something crazy. Whereas, Adam Copeland, like, you don't need to do. He knows he doesn't have. He's going to be a star no matter what. He's already a star. He doesn't have to do that.
But he's also an entertainer who wants to give you the absolute best moment of your life while you're there. So you can't tell. Like, it's also art. Like, you can't tell people they can't do that.
I'm not. I wouldn't say it's a specific to an older wrestler thing. I don't think that's the problem, personally, for me at least. I think I'm a little bit worried, and I don't want to sound like one of those people on the internet who's like looking for things to get mad at AEW for, because I watch it and I love it and I think it's great.
Yeah, that's the point of these questions, though. These are
and when you have all the stunts, like when you have all the crazy stunts, I think they're cool. Other than the Adam Copeland one, the minute he did that, I was like, that was cool. But
yeah, yes.
But most of the other ones, I'll pop for it. I think it's fun. There is a point where you're just like, across the board, not older wrestlers, where you're like, eventually someone has to tone this down, because if 1 month you're jumping off a single ladder through a table, and then the next month someone jumps off 2 ladders to 2 tables, and then like, what's the end game here, right? Like, eventually is someone going to be jumping off the roof of the building onto a spike, right? Where you're just like, because it like kind of like the blood thing. If Darby Allin falls through glass in that Sting match, everyone goes nuts and it's a big deal. But if that happens 3 times on one show where someone falls off a ladder through a table, like eventually you stop caring about that stunt, right? You don't care about it as much anymore. And then either that means you do it less often so people care more, or you do something even crazier. And I'm kind of worried they're going to get to we already had Darby Allin fall off a ladder through glass. We have to do something else. And like, people are people, right? You can't there's a limit to what you can do.
Well, I mean, they did light someone on fire last.
Yeah, I feel like that's an example of it. Like, I know the lighting on fire was safe because you could tell he was wet and like put stuff on. Like, I know it was safe. I'm 100%. I'm not saying it was reckless or dangerous or anything. I know it was as safe as lighting someone on fire can be, which sounds weird.
Right.
But I do think that, like, if that's where's next after lighting someone on fire, right? Like, are you going to try to one up that? And if you are, is that really wise?
Yeah. But like, I don't know. I just look at it as it's performance art. Like, you can't tell an artist what to do. But I agree with you. Like, I know.
But I mean, they kind of do tell them what to do, right? Like, they tell them, like, you can't go out and decide I'm going to have a 16-hour match. They're going to say, no, you have 12 minutes, right? Like, I mean, they do tell them what to do.
Yeah, like, but I mean, I meant it as in, like, you can't tell them what to do if like, oh, you're not going to use light tubes. Oh, okay, and then they're going to put them out of the ring anyway. Like, that's what I meant.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe they should a little bit tell them what to do, because, like, if you come out and you're like, I want to get stabbed in the throat, does Tony Khan be like, yeah, that's cool? Like, shouldn't he say, no, don't get stabbed in the throat? Like,
I mean, it's something like that, yeah, but at this. I mean, if you said you were going to stab yourself in the throat right now, I'd be like, whatever, dude. Like, go ahead, you're over 18. Like, it's your, you know, maybe I'm too lax, but like, why the hell's my opinion matter? Like, I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I don't know. And again, if you tell someone they can't do something, they just want to do it more. So, again, maybe I'm taking the wrong angle here, and everyone's being quiet. So apparently,
like, when, like, if you're, I feel this way about hockey too. Whenever teams eliminated in the playoffs, you hear this, oh, this player played with 16 broken bones in his leg. And like, it's like, like, I get it because you want to win. I get it. But shouldn't at some point someone be like, don't do that because you're going to permanently damage yourself, right? Like,
like, don't they have to report to a team doctor? Like,
isn't
that doctor, like, isn't it your job to do no harm?
Are they hiding this from the team doctor, or does the team doctor, like, just let it slide? I don't know.
Seems kind of like not what you should do as a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's the tough guy mentality. They're holding it back from, you know, it's, oh, I'm just limping because, you know, and meanwhile they're just grinding their teeth, taking every
like step. Doctor's not like, no, you don't have a lung, that's fine, go play. Like, I don't think that's
right.
So I don't know. I'm a little I don't know. I don't think that they should just be given unrestricted access to do whatever they want. Like, I don't know. Jay?
And that's fair.
I know one senior citizen, veteran that needs to stop what he's doing. We're not going to talk about that though. I don't know. I'm kind of torn too, because I get both points. Like, I see what Blasco's saying. Like, wrestling is an art form in of itself. It's performance art is what it is. But also, like, there's got to be limits on, like, what's too far. Like,
right.
Within reason. And I think it kind of falls back to on that same thing of, like, if you do so much crazy stuff so often, it's going to lose its value.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily an injury thing.
Yeah. It's fun when it's like there's like somebody does something crazy, stupid, like jumps from really high. Like, if they're doing that every week, it loses its luster, you know. It's just kind of okay.
If Darby went through that glass off the ladder 5 weeks in a row, by the 5th week, you're just over anymore.
It. Yeah.
True. 100% true. Okay. I just didn't expect the abrupt end there. Well,
I just want to say I'm really proud of all of us for not making any CM Punk real glass Jack Perry references during that entire segment. We did well. Good job.
That is. I didn't even think of it. That was all. I was into the topic.
It's good.
Yeah. And finally, the last question, which my answer is amazing. So what would you do if WWE and AEW announced like a Forbidden Door type partnership?
First of all, never happening, but
yes. Well, obviously.
Okay, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, the first part of his question was, would it ever happen? As someone who doesn't know, like,
right.
No, it's never happening.
Yeah,
never. Unless
ever.
Unless AEW shuts down and WWE buys them, it's never happening.
Well, yeah. And if that was ever announced, that would be it. I would just quit everything instantly and never ever go back.
I would be excited for one thing and one thing alone, because I'd love to see like the old Bullet Club together.
That'd be fun.
And
actually,
like,
yeah.
I think they could have a lot of fun with that, because, you know, obviously some of them are in one company, some are in the other. And you had like, it was Ferg was the original, and you had then Kenny Omega and then AJ, or was it backwards? I don't remember. But I think it could be a lot of fun, like with the back and forth. You know, I just, to me, I think that would be fun, but that's about it.
I think honestly, the only thing I'd look forward to is them being able to use stuff that they've used before. Like, just call them Edge. Like, come on.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
I just want that. Like, I just want to have to like not pretend that his name for 20 years wasn't Edge, and now we have to not
right.
That's the only thing I want. Like, that I'd be looking forward to is like, yeah, getting to have a shared history and a shared universe would be fun. There's no particular match I necessarily want to see, I don't think, but like having a shared sort of thing would be more interesting if they could freely talk about, you know, the New Age Outlaws, and Road Dogg and Billy Gunn could be a unit for sometimes, or Edge and whoever could be Edge, or that would kind of be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in it at all. So.
Or like maybe if Sting retired, like, you know, let them use some footage of Sting.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point.
I think it'd be fun to have like a festival of friendship again. I mean, as much as we just don't like anything Chris does, but that was good stuff to me personally. The festival of friendship with Kevin Owens. But
yeah, I don't necessarily want to see any matches, but I would like some, like, I don't know, just like a shared existence would kind of be fun, where it wasn't so now you have to completely change everything about yourself because you work for the other company. I would like that to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, because we own this character name and you don't. Like, it's just so stupid.
Yeah, it's silly. I get it, but I don't like it. So that would be the part I'd look forward to.
Nice. And well, that's all for that. What do you want to do with the what culture one, sir?
Yeah, there's one other one I want to talk about. We don't have to talk about it in detail because it doesn't have to. We don't have to go into the whole thing because I don't think we need to, and it exists as a video already, so you can just watch that video.
That's what I was going to say. I agreed with the whole video, so if you just want to watch it,
yeah, there's a video called it's from What Culture Wrestling called "The Secret Critical Mistake AEW Keeps Making," and that's a clickbait title, right?
Yes.
But the video itself is quite good. And basically, if you don't watch it, the basic point of the video is that AEW makes the stakes. When we talked about how there's not enough stakes in AEW makes a lot of the storylines about AEW as the main character and the savior of wrestling of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with their point of like, just stop it. Like, I would rather have MJF and, you know, someone, or Hangman and Swerve, they're fighting because they hate each other or because they want a title, versus like, oh, the Young Bucks are fighting FTR for what wrestling is really about. I don't care about that, especially when there's no stakes, right? Like, there's no stakes. So like, if FTR beats the Young Bucks in the who's the real wrestler competition, like, no one gets anything. So stop it.
Yeah, I go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say, it's really fun. I think we should start having the new stake should be winner gets to drive the Jack Perry bus. Everybody would win.
Fun. Like, yeah, okay. Oh, give Okada a Lamborghini, and then the next match, if he loses the Lamborghini to, you know, Eddie King.
Right.
If Eddie Kingston won at Okada's car, that would be outstanding.
That would be incredible.
I love that. He'd show up in a car. That would be outstanding. I would love everything about that. Yeah, do that. That would be great.
That would be utterly amazing. But yeah, that was a great video. I really enjoyed the both of them, but the What Culture one was, they hit the nail on the head 100% on literally everything. It was really
basically
good.
the point of it was just like AEW had that several feuds where like the heart of wrestling is at the point of the feud, and we're supposed to care about AEW being like a
Right.
as a company, a savior company, and like anyone who watches AEW likes AEW because of what it is. So I do think they beat you over the head with that a little bit.
Totally. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
I did have an offshoot question on that while we're here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think a couple years ago now, probably like near the beginning of our podcast, we talked about how one of the differences with AEW at the time was that in AEW, the company is a face, right? Like Tony Khan is a good guy and people like the company, right? Whereas maybe not right now, but the last 25 years of WWE, the company was the heel, right? Like if you were the company guy, you were a bad guy. You were corporate and everyone hated you. And AEW had if you came out saying I love WWE, people would boo you. Mm-hmm. If you were like I love Vince McMahon, they would boo you, and rightfully so.
I was gonna say that one's kind of justifiable.
Yeah, but like AEW always had, if you come out saying AEW is great, I love Tony Khan, people will cheer for you. So my question is AEW still the face? Like, are they still is the corporation of AEW still the good guy?
I think so.
I think so too.
But it would be interesting if this Bucks could somehow turn it.
I think that would be fun if they could. And especially people who really like AEW, they know Tony's a cool guy. And I think if they took a heel approach with AEW like they used to in the old, Attitude Era, I think I think it could work because people wouldn't hate AEW, the company. They would just, they'd get it. It's part of the gimmick. I think because everybody knows Tony's a cool guy, and I think it would work. It just wouldn't have to be, because when you think about it with Vince McMahon and WWE and the corporate like that versus the little guy kind of stance they always took, nobody ever liked that. Everybody always knew Vince was shady. Everybody always knew, you know what I mean? Like, it always kind of was known.
Very easy to make Vince a fan of heel. Yeah.
Right. And everybody knew he sucked. And it's
True.
like, and especially now in a time I think we live in where everybody realizes just how bad corporations are.
Also true.
But I feel like AEW has done such good things on its own for itself. It could work if you turn the company heel. It would still work. People would still like it. I don't think anybody would think negatively about the company itself, if that makes sense.
I think that's two things. One is that why the Young Bucks storyline feels a little weird, because we're supposed to like the company. So it's like, if they're EVPs of the company, shouldn't we like them, even though they're acting badly?
Good point.
And the other thing is, it is weird with generally across the political spectrum, most people aren't super fans of corporations, billionaires and massive.
For example, it being Pride Month right now, and people like to share the gotcha. I see it go around all over social media of the different companies, and then in their Twitter handles or something, and in different countries it's unchanged and as a gotcha. And I can tell you, of any of my friends, myself included in queer circles, nobody is shilling, nobody's excited for corporations during Pride Month. That's not what it's about. You know what I mean? So corporations, you said,
when your bank changes their logo to a rainbow, though, doesn't that just mean so much more? Don't you love your bank now?
No. No.
Right. I know when I go pay my bills and there's a rainbow in the corner, I'm like, you know what? I like paying these bills. I'm happy.
I really like getting screwed over by my electric company. It's great. Let me tell you. I mean, yeah,
So it is kind of weird that the company is the face when generally people don't seem to.
People do not trust corporations. Corporations
rightly so.
Are very, very shady.
So it's strange that the company. It has an ECW feel, where ECW, the company, was always the face, right? People wanted ECW to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I get why they're doing it, because they're the underdog and you want to cheer for the underdog, and the fans will rally around this underdog newer promotion. Right. But they are still they're run by $1 billion company and make lots and lots of money. So it would be interesting to see them as not Tony Khan. I don't want Tony Khan to come out and be a heel, because I think he'd do a very bad job of it.
Oh, definitely.
What?
And you're right. Most people like Tony Khan. They most people will be like, yeah, he's a billionaire, but he seems cool. Like he seems like he's a wrestling fan. He seems like a nice guy. So he can't be the heel, but maybe the company being a heel would be kind of interesting. I don't know.
I think it could work.
It could totally work. That being said, I have a question of my own to share with everybody.
All right.
It's a fun one. So it's just your opinion. Said if you could put any manager from the past with somebody from AEW today, who would you pair together? Since AEW's like brought managers back, it made me think like there's a lot of people that could still work in today's industry. So yeah, someone from their prime from the past to put with somebody today, who would you pick?
I mean, we talked about Roosh, and Roosh definitely could benefit from manager.
Oh yeah.
Who I'd bring back? Like obviously, most people's first choice for any manager was probably Bobby Heenan, because
correct.
He was so good at talking and hyping people up and just doing a great job of it. If you're not bringing back Bobby Heenan, the only person I could think of to be like a mouthpiece would kind of be Paul Heyman, because he would do a good job.
I think Paul's great.
I could see Paul Heyman with Roosh really hyping him up as like he's violent and he's dangerous and he'll hurt you and like making you really believe it, because Paul Heyman's really good at making you believe stuff.
He's very good at what he does.
Now would you do like today Paul Heyman, or would you do Paulie Dangerously from WCW? Like what would you do?
I'd want like
a mix of
like when he showed up in WWE, like early Invasion Paul Heyman, where he still had like right now he's established as a WWE kind of guy, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but he's established as a WWE manager. And when he showed up like early in the Invasion angle, he was still had that like renegade outsider ECW feel to him, and where he's kind of dangerous. He doesn't play by the rules. He does different things, and I think that would work really well with someone like Roosh, because that he could really push that as, you know, oh, you think MJF, you think you're a generational talent. Look at this guy. Look at all the things he's done. He, you know, did whatever. And I think that could work really well and give him sort of an edge that he needs.
Paulie's a great choice. I personally, I chose Cornette and Wardlow. I think that would be.
Yeah, I mean, personal feelings about Jim Cornette aside, that would work.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And it would definitely be 80s Cornette. Not
You're right.
Not
You're right. That Wardlow definitely needs that. He definitely needs someone for sure.
Oh yeah. Like I just feel bad for the guy at this point, but Wardlow, that is, not Jim Cornette. Yeah, I just feel bad for Wardlow at this point. So
that would work, especially 80s Jim Cornette. He would have where he was annoying but made a good point. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was all. I just had my question, so we can move on with.
Jay didn't answer yet.
I don't know if I really have an answer.
She said Paulie, didn't she?
I like Paulie, but I don't know who I'd put him with. But I like Paulie, not the stuff he did with Brock, because I feel like he was so limited because Brock was Brock, and his appearances were very at random, and you know, I think everything was kind of catered to him. But I really enjoyed his stuff he did with Roman Reigns.
Early Paulie with Brock the first time when Brock first showed up. That was good. Like
when I was going to shows like in 17, like in 18, 19, it was bad. And it wasn't Paul's fault. I think it was just the era and just how everything was with Brock. And it was a really bad taste in everybody's mouth with Brock. But I really enjoyed him with like when he did Roman Reigns for that real long title run. I just think he did great. I think he's awesome. I just really enjoy listening to him. I could listen to him talk all day.
He's one of the best people on the mic, just in general. Like,
he is.
Totally.
And he does. I can totally see why you hear all those stories about ECW where like people didn't get paid for months and just kept wrestling, because I can totally see him convincing you that no, this is fine. Right? Because like he can convince you to do anything.
To work for nothing, right?
Oh,
he can convince you to do anything. He can hype up anything. I'm sure he hyped it up as like, this isn't a job. You think this is just a job? This is a movement. This is a whatever. This is a lifestyle change. And then like hype guys. Yeah, I'm gonna go out there and hurt myself and for not get paid for it because he hyped me up for it. Like I could totally see him doing that. He can hype up anything ever.
I would love Paulie as like a life coach. Like,
Oh
like,
yeah.
just spend a day
Before
with
you like
me
had it,
and
before you had like a meeting or something, he'd make you so hyped up.
just spend a day with me and like just
Yeah.
like you can do it today. You're gonna get through today. Like just
Yeah. Yeah. He'd be
I feel the
great.
same way. I feel the same way about Eddie Kingston. Like when he speaks, I just am like, can you just be like my life coach for just a day? Just a
See, but
day.
Eddie would hate it. Eddie'd be mad the whole
Right.
time.
But he would still like, I feel like, but Eddie would be like, come on, like you got this. You're gonna take this shit and you're gonna just do it. Like I feel like
Yeah.
Eddie would do so great though.
Yeah.
Like
But yeah, Wardlow definitely needs someone. I forgot. It's bad enough I forgot about Wardlow until you mentioned Wardlow.
Exactly. It's bad. It's very bad.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that was Adam Cole, but like Adam Cole's hurt, so he can't. But like Adam Cole's good as a promo, but he's not like a hype man.
And right, it's just I feel bad for him at this point.
Adam seemed to really thrive in certain feuds and not in others. It just, I think it depends with Adam is how it works.
He has a specific, he has a specific personality that works better with certain people than others. And I don't necessarily, I never thought Wardlow was suited for this Undisputed Kingdom. I never thought he fit in really. I don't think that was ever really a good decision.
I would have liked to see how it would have played out if Cole didn't get hurt, but him still being there is just kind of like.
Yeah, I would have liked it, like, not to go off. I know we've been on this for a long time now, so I'm not going to go off on a huge tangent. But when they had the Devil thing and the Devil's guys were going after MJF, and Wardlow was also going after it, I would have liked to have Wardlow just also go after MJF, just like as a separate guy. Like, I'm not involved in this group. I just want to beat you up.
Just don't like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would work for me.
Totally. Yeah, I'll do that. I just I'm so frustrated about Wardlow. I'm sorry. I have to stop thinking about it. Or I'll talk about it for the next 35 minutes.
It's a good question then. Good question.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything else?
I do have one small question. Does AEW promote itself to people who are already watching it too much? And I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the point.
I think they obviously have to, because they are they're trying to poly this, right? Where like, this is a movement. We're all on this together. We're all starting this new company, and like, you're diehards and we're all diehards and we love. I get it, but is that going to make them any bigger? I don't know.
I see. That's like, they're perfectly content on what they are. Like, they're making money. They're like, I'm trying to think of like the best way to put it. They're like, they're not like the one-hit wonder band, but they're the band that just always puts out quality records and you don't realize it. And there's like, oh, they have 14 records. Oh, okay. They're probably all good.
I get that. But I think there's a part of me that's still, I don't know, that moment in 2021 when Danielson and Cole showed up, and I was like, oh man, this is it. This is going to take on WWE. And then it's not. And I think even at the time, that was a pipe dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just in the moment, you felt like, oh man, this is it. And then the fact that like, now you're like, nah, it's never going to be it. And that's fine. Like, WWE is a massive, massive, massive company. And to say you're second best to them is not a problem. I don't think it is at all. But I don't know. There's just that part of me that always feels like, oh man, if they had just done that, then that would have been so cool. But I get what you're saying, that like, they've established themselves as their own thing and their own whatever. And you kind of have to market to your own audience because there's people watching you.
Yeah. And like, as far as like, they're going to expand their audience, but they're going to expand their audience in different ways. They're like, I hate to say, oh, they don't want to cater to the WWE fan. Like, that's 100% not true, but I don't think it's high on their radar. They would rather pull in people that watch CMLL, or like, I know it's all kind of the same thing, but those are the people that they would rather pull in my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, but
yeah, I think that's definitely what they're doing, because that's where they're pushing it, right? They're pushing the people who watch New Japan, who watch CMLL. I get that that's where they're going. I just think the wrestling audience is kind of small, and I don't think you're going to get new wrestling fans. I doubt that there's maybe kids, maybe younger people, maybe people in their 20s, but like, maybe this is just a bias of mine. I don't think there's anyone who's like 45 years old and is like, I'm going to start watching wrestling. I've never watched this before. I don't think that's I don't think that's an audience.
I totally agree with you. 100%. Yeah, it's either going to be people like us who have been in it for the long haul, or like you said, there will be the random like college kids. For some reason college kids get into wrestling and I don't know why.
Yeah,
But,
that makes sense, but I don't know. I just feel like there is a certain, and I don't blame them for it, but there is a certain like preaching to the choir sort of thing where like, I already know you're great. Like, I watch your show every week. Like, you don't need to tell me that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see it though. I see what you're saying. But on that note, everybody, thank you. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment. That's a new one. Make sure to do all that. It helps us out.
Hit that bell on YouTube.
Hit the bell. I've been waiting
Hit
my
the
whole life to say that. Thank you, everybody. It's been fun this week. We will be back next week, probably back to our normally scheduled day. So until then, have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you later on in the week. Later.